As we explore complementary assets, we're going to spend some time defining the term and talk about how it relates to competition and how you can use your insights on this to be more successful in your new venture. When we look at complementary assets, this is going to be the second leg of our discussion on competition within the opportunity analysis canvas. So to define complementary assets, these are capabilities or infrastructure to support commercialization beyond assets fundamentally associated with the product itself. So again, we're looking to define the complement piece versus the core piece. So when we look at the complementary assets, it can be tangible. It can be money, it can be equipment, it can be real estate. It may be the intangibles, your knowledge, your relationships and network, your intellectual property by way of your patents or trademarks or copyrights or trade secrets. And what we see is that entrepreneurs can develop an advantage if they have significant intangible assets, if they have the knowledge, if they have the relationships, if they have the intellectual property, because those things are more difficult to replicate. Those things are more difficult for a large company to copy. And so how do you build these complementary assets? Well, you may build them organically and in a traditional sense. You may buy or rent a warehouse if you need to do order fulfillment. You may hire staff. You may manage your operations and buy the IT and build it yourself. Another avenue for building complementary assets is to buy, in a bit of a different sense, of outsourcing in this context. You may partner with an Amazon in the context of finding someone that does fulfillment that will do it in a different way without you having to necessarily build that system yourself. You may buy or hire someone else to do that. A bit of a middle ground is collaboration. You may look to, is there a fast and comparatively cheap avenue or advantageous avenue to finding others that are going to do this work where I don't have to build it on my own, nor do I have to necessarily buy or pay for it outright. And these are unique opportunities where you look for win-win scenarios. So complementary assets, in this example and in other examples that we're going to discuss, may increase demand, may improve your commercialization, maybe increase the benefit or the utility or the value of what it is you're bringing to the market. The Sony PlayStation realized that when they elected to integrate a Blu-ray movie player within their console. This was something that in the beginning people questioned because it did add some cost to what they were doing. And there were not a lot of Blu-ray titles, there were not a lot of Blu-ray format movies in the market at the time. But what soon happened is that as Sony penetrated this market via the gaming console avenue and built a hardware platform that the Blu-ray producing companies could then sell into, it made more sense for more of the titles to come on market. And as more titles became on market, and as individuals are making the choice of which video console do I buy to play games, I can buy a Sony to play games and watch the Blu-ray movies, or I can buy the Microsoft competing product, which can play games, but does not have that level of Blu-ray interoperability. I got more for my money if I went the Sony route. And this is one of the elements that contributed to their success with the PlayStation 3 and outselling Microsoft significantly, and that consumers believe they got more. And whether they even used it or not, knowing that I could have a Blu-ray DVD capability and not have to buy a separate Blu-ray DVD player added value. And so this is what we mean by, again, a complementary asset, a partnership that emerged that was a win-win for both. We also see it with Netflix in the context of a complementary asset. Netflix has been very successful for a number of years in doing the mail order business. As your Fios, your Comcast, and other regions of the world, broadband became available, in the home, a streaming platform made sense, and to be able to stream your content to your computer was an interesting thing, and perhaps you wanted to take the added effort of using cables to try and connect your computer to your television, but not a lot of people did that. What we're seeing more recently is partnerships and collaborations whereby Netflix is going to be and is available via your TV through your PlayStation, your Wii, your Xbox, and other video gaming consoles. A more seamless integration of having Netflix via the internet come directly into your television. We're also seeing it in unique access with smart TVs and smart apps and things of that nature as well. So again, the element of a movie and watching the movie itself is the product, but the complementary piece are some of these elements of interconnection. The complementary piece are these elements that add value and access and improve access and integrate those movies into your television, which is where most of us are still watching movies, as opposed to on our computers. Complementary assets themselves can also be the source of new venture opportunities. In this example, we see that the forecast for the accessories market for Apple by FY15 is in excess of $11 billion. And when we think about accessories, we want to differentiate that from the core product itself. I would not necessarily suggest trying to go out and build a better iPhone or build a better iWatch, but you can think about accessories and ways to play into that market and ways to benefit from that market as the entrepreneur. We see it oftentimes in terms of cases and other add-ons. This is something that's a little bit more novel, where it's a stand and it's a charging station. And in this context, we want you to, again, think a little bit broader as well regarding what's a complementary asset that you could develop to the iPhone user. This is something that's a little bit more novel from Kwikset, which, while a large company, is a fairly traditional offering of locks, and largely locks for homes. But what they've done here is they've recognized that many individuals are going to want their lock and want a key-based lock, and they found a design that preserves that and that maintains that. But what they've also integrated in the spirit and this rapid rise of home automation is a way by which you can unlock the door digitally and share digital keys and time access those keys if you have individuals that may come home to the home at certain periods of time. And you can do a variety of things to turn those on and off and time those on and off and give keys and take away keys virtually. And they've done that again, not by trying to build a separate hardware device that competes with the iPhone, but building a novel app and a piece of hardware integration within their own device. So again, novel complementary asset that Kwikset has realized and is bringing to market. So in summary, when we think about where and how we want to compete, I would caution you to try and avoid elements where the most money is going to win. Instead, think about opportunities where complementary assets, and specifically the elements of knowledge and relationships and intellectual property, can be developed by you as a startup and can be preserved and grown and develop unique access there as well. I also encourage you, when you think about complementary assets and how to develop those and avenues to those, to think about collaboration. Think about innovation-based solutions where you can tackle competitors and tackle them with the help of others.